I want to talk to you today about leadership, which is the mission of the American Orthopaedic Association. One of the most frequently asked questions is, are leaders born or made? In my own case, it was part of my DNA. I'm a baby boomer born just after World War II. My folks didn't have enough money to buy a home, and as a result, we lived with my grandparents. Eventually, when I was 3, they saved up enough money to buy a small house at the furthest reaches of the city. Even at that young age, I could tell that my parents were totally focused on giving me and subsequently my brother and sister the opportunity for a better life, and that would come through education. Both of them had strong work ethics and felt that the well-being of their children and their own personal lives mandated being involved. They became community and organizational leaders. To them, being involved and leading was the only way to ensure a better outcome for their children. This included lobbying the school board to get our neighborhood redistricted to allow us to attend a better school, setting up an organization that helped fund opportunities and supplies that the school system couldn't provide, getting AP classes introduced into the high school, raising money so our sports teams could be better equipped, and so on. From my parents, I realized that sitting on the sidelines and hoping or assuming things would be improved was not an option. This sense of taking charge of your life by being involved became the fundamental guiding principle for my life. I've had the good fortune to have served in many leadership roles in our profession, and from these I've learned a great deal about the attributes of successful leadership. My ultimate goal in each leadership role was to leave the organization stronger, more focused, and better positioned to face future challenges. I haven't read any books on leadership and claim no originality for the attributes of leadership that I will present to you today. And I can be fairly certain, however, that others have expressed them in different and perhaps more articulate ways. I've been incredibly lucky throughout my life. I've had and continue to have a wonderful life in orthopedic surgery, thanks to the generosity of those who mentored me, who gave me academic and professional opportunities, and provided nurturing environments for success. Admired and successful leaders never lose sight of the fact that achieving leadership positions or success in these positions is ever achieved alone. Saying thank you and expressing appreciation to those who've helped you along the way is imperative and a key attribute of successful leaders. Beginning in elementary school and on through high school, college, and medical school, I took advantage of every leadership opportunity available. At this formative stage, I led existing entities and took the opportunity to start and lead new organizations for which there was a perceived need. I received a great deal of personal satisfaction in trying to make each entity better at the end of my tenure. I also learned to deal with adversity, anticipate problems, and address leadership challenges where the incentives of everyone involved were not aligned. In medical school, I was fortunate to be exposed to some of the giants in organizational medicine. These individuals played significant professional leadership roles locally, nationally, and internationally. I had the opportunity to observe many leadership styles, not all of which are regarded as positive. But it was clear in these early experiences that different situations required different types of leaders and leadership skill sets. I observed 2 leadership styles and their associated tactics that I felt were not conducive to effective organizational improvement or collaborations. The first style was the leader who imposed their will by intimidation, and the second was the leader who imposed their will by the sheer strength of their all-knowing personality. These individuals weren't interested in other opinions, but merely in dictating policy. They stifled discussion, avoided introduction of new ideas or any critical thinking. They were much more interested in maintenance of power and self-aggrandizement than organizational success. Effective leadership must always be principled and inclusive. It's not about you. It's always about the greater good of the organization. If it becomes about you, the team, whether it's a board, task force, committee, or work group, will never pull oars in the same direction or devote the time and energy to the tasks at hand to achieve the mission and vision of the organization or grow the enterprise. Leadership comes with responsibility. The organization has assumed that you will take this role as an opportunity to make the entity entrusted to you better than its current status. Those who appointed or elected you to the leadership position have placed their trust in you, and you cannot violate that trust. Also, to be effective, you will need to establish the trust of your team. Leaders who interpret opportunities from a self-promotional standpoint will have a difficult time building the team necessary to achieve goals. Once trust is lost and incentives of the leader and the team members are no longer aligned, organizational success and personal fulfillment are not possible. Effective leaders inspire confidence. They lead by example in their work ethic and their organizational passion. The leadership team must perceive that you as the leader are putting 100% of your efforts into that role, and that a similar ethic and commitment is expected from everyone on the team. In addition to inspiring confidence, an effective leader will only be successful if they have self-awareness. They must continually reassess their personal strengths and weaknesses with respect to the job at hand. Leaders may try to overcome weaknesses by gaining knowledge or acquiring skills. Regardless, a self-aware leader will make up for weaknesses by surrounding themselves with a team that fills in these apparent gaps. As a leader, I always wanted to be surrounded by the best possible talent. I wanted people who were smarter than me, those who were passionate about the organization, and the opportunity to be part of a leadership team, even if their views were contrary to my own. This type of leadership team helps you sharpen your own focus, identify weaknesses in your logic on issues, and gain an understanding of other points of view. It also helps you anticipate problems and the unintended consequences of actions. Preparing for difficult discussions and anticipated conflicts ultimately helps you guide the team to consensus, and a good leader clearly understands the difference between consensus and compromise and always tries to achieve the former. The effective leader must have an in-depth, complete knowledge of the organization and each issue to be addressed. While responsibilities should be delegated widely throughout the team, failure of the leader to have this scope of knowledge puts the organization and its stakeholders at risk and violates the trust of those who appointed or elected them. Leaders must always be focused. Team members quickly recognize when the leader is distracted by other activities not germane to the organization. And while many effective leaders are, because of their talents, involved with other types of activities, these conflicts must be managed effectively to avoid the loss of confidence and trust of the leadership team. Loyalty and commitment to the organization must never be in question. Leadership is also not about popularity, but it is about civility. Treating all team members with respect is critical. A good leader values all opinions. They enfranchise their team and provide them with individual leadership responsibilities within the organizational framework and are always available to their team. And success by team members deserves accolades that are genuine. Praise should never be offered that's not sincere, genuine, or earned. Knowing that the leader appreciates your efforts is often the greatest reward for participation. The leader is also responsible for setting the tone of all discussion and then guides the discussion to ensure discussion time is well spent and not monopolized by anyone. Good leaders are good listeners. In general, they listen 80% of the time and speak no more than 20% of the time. The team's time must not be wasted by lack of preparation, poor time management, or non-essential activities. All work must be focused toward achievements, not activities. Everyone's time, not just the leaders, is valuable. At the end of the day, your greatest gratification as a leader comes from seeing the organization stronger, more focused, and better positioned to face the challenges ahead. And finally, one of the greatest rewards of leadership comes from mentoring your team by example and seeing your mentees succeed in their own leadership roles.